What's going on, everybody? Birdman here, and today we have a new video coming to you guys. Today we are going to be doing a breakdown on another Pokemon out there. Now, with this Pokemon, as you can see, I already have his two forms out here because we are going to go both over the regular Salamance and the Mega Salamance. So, as most of y'all have known, when Salamance came out, Salamence has always been a pretty big powerhouse with 135 attack and 110 special attack. You honestly, it's something that's really hard to deal with. He's got really good speed, attack, and special attack with a really strong move pool, and his abilities are really strong as well. Now, with Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, we got Mega Salamence, which was probably I would have to definitely say was the most powerful out of all of the. I just kicked my desk. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it was the most powerful of all of the different types of Pokemon that you could choose from the Megas. While I'm more of a fan of certain Megas than others, there's no denying that Mega Salamence is power. And it actually is an Uber Pokemon that actually holds its own very well in Megas. I mean, not Megas, in Ubers, in Megas too. But in Ubers, it's actually pretty strong as well. There, it thrives in there very well. It's very bulky. It's 130 defense. So it basically is going to it gets a 50-point bonus in its defense, 10-point bonus in its attack and special attack. So you could actually run special attacking or physical attacking set if you really want to, and 20 points boosted into its speed, 10 points increase into its SPDF. I mean, it is definitely a powerhouse. But today, we're going to start off this video by actually just going over some regular OU Salamance sets. So, without further ado, we're just going to jump into this. Now, first thing I want to talk about is its abilities. When you look at the two abilities that you have right here, basically, what we're looking at is we're looking at Intimidate, which means whenever you switch this Pokemon in, you're going to lower somebody's attack by 1. And Moxie, which basically makes it so whenever you feint another Pokemon, whenever you bop a Pokemon out of there, this Pokemon's going to get an attack boost, which is a terrifying thought. So for today, we're just going to go over a standard Intimidate set, something that I feel like is really good because you get to switch in and do really crazy things with that. Now, with that being said, let's see what kind of set we're going to give this one today. We'll give it a Life Orb, and we're going to give it Intimidate. Now, the reason why I do like Intimidate as an ability over Moxie sometimes is if Moxie is one of those abilities that's really strong, if you use it to KO a Pokemon, however, it can have its points where the ability becomes completely useless. It is a good ability if you're looking at this Pokemon to be sweeping. Which, to be honest, Salamance does that very well. So with this one right here, we're going to go with a Life Orb set. We're going to have Intimidate. The reason I like Intimidate is because you can actually use this as a bulkier kind of set with Salamance. And you can use this to make it so Pokemon are not going to be able to inflict as much to you depending on what switch in you're bringing Salamance in on. So let's go for... let's see what we can go for here. We're going to go for a... What kind of set is this going to be, guys? What kind of set? You guys got to tell me. We're going to make this a physical set. So we're going to... Actually, let's do a special set to start this off. We'll just go with a special set because I think special set actually works out really well with Intimidate. So we're going to run Draco Meteor. We're going to run Flamethrower. I'm not highlighting Flamethrower. I'm trying to click Flamethrower. We are going to actually instead of Flamethrower, because it depends, to be honest with you, on which one you want. Personally, I like accuracy over power, so I'm actually going to choose Heat Wave just because it's a little bit stronger than Flamethrower. Just thinking about it right there. Let's see, next move that we can use is we can definitely go for a Roost is almost essential in my opinion. I just think it's a really good move on Salamance and makes him really powerful. And we'll go with Hydro Pump. That right there, we can make it a fast special attacker. I would make it a timid set, max out on speed, max out on special attack, and we'll just put the last 4 points on speed F. Because this thing does have intimidate on switching, so if something does decide to stay in, it's going to be able to it's not going to eat anything up. So this gives it 328 speed, 319 special attack. And with this move set right here, Draco Meteor can basically bop anything that comes in. This is life or boosted Draco Meteor. Nothing is surviving. This is pure carnage right here if you decide to run this set. Next up is Roost. This is your recovery move, of course. It's very standard. It's very good on Salamance. I will actually prefer that on a lot of the sets I am going to show here. I just feel like it's a really good move to have on Salamance. Heat Wave. Heat Wave, like I said, I was going to choose Flamethrower originally, but I decided on Heat Wave. Heat Wave gives you 5 more power. It's a little less accurate, but it's a little bit more powerful. You can also go with Fire Blast or Flamethrower right here, but I would suggest one of these 3. Personally, myself, this is just basically my balance between accuracy and power. So it honestly comes straight down to what you decide you would like to have. And then Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump's going to bop anything that comes in, even though it is not stab. It's still going to do a nifty amount of damage. So with this moveset right here, Salamance honestly can switch in on a physical attacker and go ahead and basically either throw up a Draco Meteor if you feel like a fairy type is going to come in. You do have the option to switch out, which is what I would prefer my strategy to be. I probably wouldn't stay in unless I felt like Heat Wave or Hydro Pump's going to do something to it, because in OU, most of the fairy types that people use are like Caflable and Sylveon and stuff like that. They have a lot of Spit F, so you really don't want to do a special attack to it, because you're honestly just going to you probably do more damage to yourself with Life Orb than you will to them. So that's basically the moveset I would suggest on this kind of Salamance right here. You could run a Choice Specs. You could run Choice Specs. You could run Choice Scarf, which actually would not be terrible on this set whatsoever. However, you do lose the ability to really use your Roost unless you do end up getting knocked off. So that is one of the big things right there. And then basically from there, honestly, I just feel like Life Orb, it fits him so much better. It allows him to have his Roost, his Draco Meteor, Heat Wave, and Hydro Pump are going to hurt really hard, and it's going to be a mess. Now, when I talk about Salamance, we can go on and on for days, but right now I'm actually going to go ahead and switch out into what I feel like is the most prominent physical attacking set. So we're going to get rid of Intimidate, and we're actually going to put in Mati because we're going to have a sweeping machine in here. Because today we're basically going to be talking about 3 different builds. So, well, I think we'll talk about 4. I might include a different one. So, with this one, we're going to look at Outrage. We are going to look at Earthquake. We are going to look at... You could go for Aerial Ace right here. I mean, it's not terrible because it doesn't check accuracy, but at the same time, its base power is nothing too great, to be honest. So I probably wouldn't suggest it. We can go for a... Let's see, where is it? I'm trying to think of what I'm going for here. Dragon Dance. That was what I was trying to find. I don't know why I was going so low down there. And what was the other move that you could totally do on this? You could totally go for a... Honestly, there's a whole bunch of different things, but I'd say Roost again. Like I said, it's just something that you really want. Now with this one right here, I am going to go to a Jolly Nature, and I am going to take away the special attack that I have. and I'm actually just going to boost up my physical attack. You can actually just keep this 4 sitting in SPDEF right here. I mean, you could switch it around to a special defense, SPDEF or regular defense. It's all up to you in that matter. However, I do feel like this is the prime example of a really strong settlement. And you got the Stab Outrage that comes out, Earthquake, which bops a lot of things. Magnezone, which is a big thing in OU right now, gets destroyed by Earthquake, and you have a whole bunch of other Pokemon out there that actually just don't want to take an Earthquake. You can get a D-Dance off with this. It's absolutely amazing. And Roost gives you your recovery options. Like I said, this thing is a sweeping monster. You could actually go for sub if you really feel like it. Uh, so there's an option right there. Uh, but I just feel like this is actually just a prime set in OU that I see a lot of the times. If you're looking for something to just kind of sweep teams, Earthquake honestly bops a lot of things. Outrage, just stab, and it's so powerful. Dragon Dance, of course, that allows you to capitalize on things. And when you're picking up Moxie Boost every now and again, you're just gonna absolutely wreck house. The biggest thing that you have to fear, honestly, as a Mega Salamance, I mean, not Mega Salamence, as a regular Salamence. Mega Salamence doesn't like this Pokemon either, but Greninja can definitely bop you with a Ice Beam, because if I do recall correctly, it is yeah, Greninja, if I remember right, is 377 speed. Uh, if it's mat speed and all this other good stuff. So it does outspeed Salamance, which is the big thing to talk about right there, is the fact that Salamance would be outsped by this. It doesn't have any priority really to go to. So Salamence definitely has a hard time with Greninja, which is probably one of the most prominent things. The meta's kind of centered around having Greninja on your team. So Salamence definitely has something to fear with Greninja. So definitely, if I was to try and play this out and somebody had a Greninja on their team, I would try and make sure my options are taken care of by getting rid of that Greninja before I decide to try and start setting up. Just because of the pure fact that if I don't have a D-Dance or something off, and that Greninja is able to outspeed me, I do not want my Salamence to get bopped. So that is my biggest thing. Now, with that being said, we're going to talk about the set that you would run for a Mega Salamance. Now, for this one, I'm going to run the set right here, and then I'm going to switch over to Mega Salamance and make the same exact set real quick. This is one of my preferred sets. Now, there are 2 sets that you can go through, and I am going to show you both of them. So first off, let's go ahead and give it its stone. Salamence Knight. And here's the thing. You're looking at these 2 abilities here. Moxie is good if you can come in and bop somebody real quick before you Mega Evolve. It's the same strategy as basically using Mega Pincer, where you have Moxie, you bring them in on something that can easily get bopped, and you can bop it. Simple as that. I do believe Pincer gets Sword Stance, if I remember correctly. So basically, you can Sword Stance up, get a Moxie boost, and absolutely wreck house with Mega Pincer in that regard. However, my preferred set is actually the Intimidate set. Now, Intimidate, the reason why I like that is because it does drop the physical attack down, and it makes it so basically whoever you switch into is going to be a whole lot weaker. And it makes it so you'll be able to, in a lot of situations, be able to go into your sub, which is what I'm going to talk about. We got subments coming out. So we're going to get substitute. We're going to do we're going to do Roost. This was the most prominent set when they were doing when Mega Salamence first became a thing. This was the most prominent thing. The reason why, let me go ahead and explain it, is the fact that you could actually use this to basically, the ability of Mega Salamence is Area Light. So what ends up happening with that is you're actually let me just show you guys. It'll be so much easier. Let's go to Salamence Mega. The ability Area Light, this Pokemon's normal moves become Flying type and do 1.3 damage. That's huge. So that's why when you run Sub Frustration, the reason why Frustration over Return, at least in Showdown, I think Return's better if you're playing Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, because Return's a whole lot easier to manage over Frustration. You get full damage out of Return over Frustration, because Frustration is just annoying to keep up with. However, Frustration's basically if somebody brings a Choice Scarf Ditto, you don't want them to take your stats and use it against you, basically. So we got the Substitute, Frustration, Roost, and we're also going to, what was the other move? I'm drawing a huge blank. Oh, and Dragon Dance. And basically what you would do with this set right here is you would run a good amount of HP, full out attack, and I'd say put the rest in Spadef, just because. You could put a little bit on speed if you really want to, but that's completely up to you. And I would run an Adamant Nature. And basically Frustration gets that stab bonus. It's going to do a ton of damage. I think it's 102 damage. Yeah, 102 power right there. And that's if it's at the bare minimum happiness. Now, however, Return is better if you're doing Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It's just easier to manage. But a lot of people have their Dittos with Matt's happiness. So if it does transform, that Frustration would end up, and it had Frustration, it does not copy your Pokemon's happiness. So if I have a Matt's happiness Ditto that copies a Frustration Pokemon, then the Frustration's not going to do damage. Like, that's just how it is with that. But Ditto really isn't that big of a threat, I don't feel like, to Salamance, so it's whatever. But that's a big set. Now, since he has been switched over to Ubers, another big set that people have started running is Double Edge, because that gives you that Area Light bonus, becomes Stab and all that good stuff. And instead of having Roost, people are actually getting Earthquake. And this is the set that his Uber set, basically. This is what he's been running in Ubers. This is how he thrives in Ubers. And he's just able to be a monster. You can actually look up Mega Salamance in Ubers, and he can absolutely still do what he did in the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire testing and all this other stuff. He just destroys Pokemon. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter if you're something wimpy like a Cast Form, or you're a freaking Rayquaza or Arceus or anything like that. This thing will bop you. And that is basically all it is. And of course, this thing's gonna have Salamence Knight. We can't have a freaking. We cannot have an item held on it like Rayquaza does. However, but yeah, guys, that is basically Salamance in a nutshell. If you guys have any other Pokemon that you guys would be interested in hearing me talk about, leave a message, send me a comment, say something. Whatever I see the next Pokemon you guys want to see is, I will be more than happy to do. And without further ado, guys, oh, and before I forget, I actually forgot to mention something. The reason why I run HP on Salamance is because it's a substitute. I just want to clarify that. If you run substitute, having HP is really vital, because that means it's going to take a lot more for your substitute to break. Now, without further ado, guys, now that I've gotten that out of the way, if you guys have any Pokemon you guys would wish for me to take a moment to do a video on, leave a comment down in the video, underneath the video, drop a like, drop a sub if you haven't subscribed today, and like I said, anything you guys have, tips, tricks, pointers, something I might have missed, I'm more than happy to hear your guys' feedback. So without further ado, guys, it's been Birdman here. Thank you guys for watching. Peace. I am